Welcome to the Protecting Your Nest podcast. Followed by smoking, the obesity epidemic has become the number one cause of preventable death. And with so many people impacted by it, it's important that we all work together to find ways to ensure we move to a world where less people are impacted. You may ask, why is obesity the number one cause of preventable deaths? Well, the reason is that obesity is associated with many chronic medical conditions. They include things like hypertension, abnormal cholesterol levels, type 2 diabetes, many of us are aware of that, heart disease, stroke, arthritis, and things like sleep apnea, but most importantly, a low quality of life. And some of my patients have even found that when they've gotten their lifestyle in order, they even do better with their mental illness and they just feel better overall. One of the goals of this podcast is to introduce you to not only experts that can help you prevent obesity and metabolic dysfunction, but also inspiration from those who have learned that carb restriction is probably the most effective way to fight against obesity. Today's guest will do just that as she shares her story of healing on today's episode. Today's guest is Emily Velez. Emily is a chef, restaurant owner, hairstylist, salon owner, just to name a few, and has been doing those professions for over 20 years. She's also a dancer, and she's been doing that for about a decade. Over the years, she has struggled to lose weight, but that's, something that she learned to fix by adopting a lifestyle based on the keto dietary pattern. Today, she will share her healing message so that we all can receive that much needed inspiration to help us along our way. And with that, Emily, I really thank you for being here and I welcome you to Protecting Your Nest.
Thank you, Dr. Hampton. I'm really happy to be here to, speak on behalf of a success story because I remember, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago thinking I'm never going to be able to do that. I'm never going to be able to reach my weight loss goals. And it could be really depressing. Um, you do become adapted to being an overweight or obese person, which I did. I was very adapted to uh, showcasing a positive person. So when I would go out, people would see me always well dressed, hair, makeup, everything well dressed. And then they would say, "Oh, she's so confident, she's comfortable." And in a way, I was. I think everyone should be comfortable in their skin, regardless of their weight. But health has a huge factor that a lot of us forget about. That when we're trying to uh, inspire people to be confident, and I think that that's my biggest lesson is because confidence wasn't such a problem. I think everyone, even the most confident person, has confidence issues, right? But as an obese person, I didn't really think about my confidence so much because I felt cute. I felt pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I took the time to dress up. But internally, I was very sad and
Mm.
it, I felt hopeless. I tried every diet in the market, and I would lose weight. It would be successful for a while. There was a time that I lost the majority of the weight and went down all the way to 125 pounds. I'm
Mm.
5'4". So at reaching that weight, I was fine, but that was when I did fen because that was the big
Mm.
fad. You'd go to the
Oh, back in the
doctors, and that's what
day.
they would put you on. And I got on that, lost the weight like this, and also gained the weight like this the moment I stopped, double the weight. So now I'm in a bigger jeopardy, bigger problem. Luckily, I found dance, and that helped me lose and maintain a little scale of about 30 to 50 pounds. I would go, fluctuate between those 10 or 15 pounds. Um, but dance also inspired me to want to finally get my life, uh, find something that worked. Find something that worked. I was like, I need to lose weight. I'm older. I'm in my 40s, and I've been wanting to be a dancer my entire life since I was a little girl. And not to say that weight is a limitation, because there's some amazing dancers of all sizes
Mm-hmm.
and shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but health wise is what we tend to forget, because we want to promote body positivity, which is awesome, but we also have to promote health, and I think that's what we forget about. And the truth is that when you are obese, your body works harder to compensate. So your heart works harder. Everything in your body works harder, including like your knees and your ankles and
Mm.
everything that a dancer needs. And I suffer at times. Um, Even now, as my body, I'm down 146 pounds,
Mm.
and I still suffer. My back still, has issues. My knees have issues. My ankles have issues. My actual the bottom of my feet have issues. Um, Again, I'm older. I'm not a young dancer, but the fact that I lost all this weight, and I had so much weight on my body for so many years, for at least 20 something years of my life. Like I would say about 26 years of my life, I was obese, and I'm going to be
Mm.
43 next week.
Mm.
So it's a majority of my life, and
So I
it
was
takes a toll.
curious. I'm curious about your, and we'll talk a little bit more about the diet and the impact. But when I see you on social media, I often see your beautiful daughter.
That's my niece,
So
my nieces.
is that your niece?
Yes,
Got you.
three nieces.
So got you. Well, you got the crew. So
Yeah.
so what's been the impact on your family? Because 146 pounds is not a small number. So how impactful has your journey impacted the family that you're around, including those little girls?
Well, to be honest, the little baby you see, her name is Alani. She will be 3 years in September, and in September I would make 3 years of living a keto, low carb life, right? So what happened is, when she was born, about a week later, I finally decided to take the 6 months that I had researched keto and low carb life and viewed other people being successful, and me doubting myself every minute of those days, within those 6 months. It took 6 months and a baby to be born for me to like wake up and say,
Mm.
you're getting older, you don't have any children of your own, you want to start a family, and you need to start getting healthy. You want to become a dancer, there's so much that you want to enjoy life. Luckily, God, thank God, I never had any health issues that, so far, right? I mean,
Hmm.
maybe if I would have continued, I would have had health issues. But thank God I didn't. I didn't have high blood pressure or high cholesterol, any of that. But the birth of my niece was the reason why I decided that it was time. It was time for me to stop
Hmm.
making excuses. It was time for me, if I wanted to be active with my nieces, I may or may not become a mother someday. So these are my kids. These are the ones that I show love to and do things with. So I wanted to have the energy to chase after a child. And this little girl is energetic. Um,
Yes.
Now, when it concerns my the rest of my family, they've been so supportive. Like for my birthday, they always bake me a keto cake.
Hmm.
For the holidays, they cook food. Or like, I'm Puerto Rican, so from the Puerto Rican culture, there's not a lot that I can make that's low carb. But my mom this year sat down and made pasteles puertorriqueño, like with me, for Christmas, and we made a version that was keto, and they were fire. They were amazing. I mean, guineo escabeche, things like that you can't, like, you need plantains. You need, it's a staple in my culture, and I can't have it. And my mom like goes out of her way to just save a little bit of my sister-in-law, all of them, my brother, all of them. And then also my brother, uh, he supported my keto business 100% and actually became one of my clients. And if you go
Hmm.
into my Instagram and scroll down somewhere down there, you'll see actually his success story. He has lost a lot of weight on my meal plan, and has actually become addicted to the gym, which I'm very proud of him because, we were both, me and him are very close, and we would end up always, eating crap. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the truth. Is we eat crap. I'm not saying you have to eat bland, boring food.
Mm-mm.
You can have amazing food. You just have to know what to eat and
What
how
to
to
eat
eat.
and
You
how to
know?
prepare it, because what I like about your post is that it all looks delicious, and just you talking about your family, I think we should do a shout out to their culture. So maybe something you could say in Spanish, maybe. So what would you say, just to kind of say something to your culture, that would resonate? Just something real brief, because I think we have to speak to everybody. So what would you say as we talk about your family?
Well, really quick before I say a shout out, I want to say, even though I am Puerto Rican, I was raised in both the Puerto Rican and Mexican culture. So I have a lot of love and respect for Mexican
Mm,
people. So I want to say, Orale to Mexico, and que viva Puerto Rico. And honestly, I have, as a Latina, I have respect for all Latinos,
mm.
and honestly, all people of color. Uh, regardless of Latin origin or not.
Right. Well,
I appreciate people. I appreciate respectful people. Soy bien orgullosa de ser latina y sé que es un poco difícil comer comida saludable cuando uno ya está dedicado en su vida entera a comer su comida de su nacionalidad, pero no es imposible. Todo hay posibilidad. Uno tiene que solamente dedicarse un poquito de tiempo para aprender un poco sobre cuáles son las comidas y cuáles son las opciones que te va a ayudar a usted a ser más saludable. Y yo estoy aquí para ayudar cualquier persona que necesite ayuda. Follow my IG. Ojalá ahorita pasamos al IG y que sí se puede. That's the thing, is that a lot of people forget that they can't do it. I didn't think I can do it. I'll be
mm,
honest. Bajar 100 libras es mucho. Decir que uno puede bajar 100 libras, uno dice, no, es imposible. Y la verdad es que yo bajé 146 libras. No es imposible. It is not impossible to lose 100 pounds. It's
mm.
impossible to lose 146 pounds. It's not impossible to lose 200 pounds.
That's
It's
right.
not impossible to lose 300 pounds. Like, you just have to do it.
And I
Like,
love it.
that's
And
it.
you're right. And again, I'm glad you spoke to them. I appreciate that. In fact, how I met you, right? We might as well speak to that. Is that my oldest son, Brandon Hampton, and I actually have his shirt here to remind people about. And it's so funny because when I went to college, Xavier, New Orleans, it's kind of a French culture, Creole. So I made the mistake of learning. I learned French, and I barely can remember that. And then I wish I had learned Spanish, but he told me with his podcast, ritmos. I used to call it rit, like I sound, but he said it's like an E sound. And then I saw negros. He said negros, an A sound. But these are the things I should have learned if I had learned Spanish. But a shout out to him and his podcast. Obviously, the connection is the dancing,
He's
but
a
I just
phenomenal dancer.
yes, he's
A
killing it.
phenomenal dancer.
And one thing you said earlier, you can learn, right? So he learned how to become a phenomenal dancer, and I really appreciate his love for that. And I'm just happy that he connected us. And when he mentioned you and told me about what you were doing in the world of keto, I was like, I gotta have her. So I'm just, and then
Thank
you
you,
just happen to,
Brandon.
yes, Brandon. Shout out to Brandon and his
Yes.
podcast. So those listening, check out Red Miss Negros podcast. So let's talk a little bit about. You talked a little bit about your journey, but when you discovered keto, is this something you just researched? I mean, how did you? I mean, you could have discovered a vegan lifestyle or anything else. What made keto stand out for you? Because you've tried. What other diets have you tried, and where
So
did
I'm
keto
gonna
come from?
be like candid, 100%.
Yeah, that's okay.
Not like a fat girl. I thought like a girl who loves food.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been on so many diets in my life that, like, they're not impossible to do, but they're hard for you to have a lifestyle with, right? And then you lose the weight, and if you don't maintain the diet, you eventually gain the weight or more. And I was teeter-tottering, like back and forth between weight for a long time, and that was something that I didn't want to continue doing, because I know that that kills your metabolism, that kills your body. Like you're teaching your body how to survive all the time, so it's storing all that fat. There's just so much that you're making your body work harder to do. And I didn't want to do another crash diet, so I literally researched for about 6 months.
Mhm.
Different. I checked out the whole three. What is it? 360, I think it's called. The Atkins, paleo, like everything,
Mhm.
like keto, low carb versus keto, different versions of keto, like keto carnivore,
Mhm.
intermediate fasting, OMAD, 1 meal a day,
Mhm.
all different types of fasting, prolonged fasting, like 72-hour fasting, the benefits of all these things. I research. So what I ended up doing was adding myself to a few groups. And the reason keto stuck out was because, first of all, I couldn't believe it. I really thought there's no way that this can work, right? People were eating bacon and cheese and burgers and like triple burger with cheese and bacon and lettuce, and I'm losing weight. And I was like, there's just no way. There's just no way. And like, I didn't think about how many carbs we actually intake in a day, because we literally abuse the F out of food. We really do. Um, and I just kept on researching, and I started seeing people, and I was procrastinating. I wasn't sure about it. But I was seeing people showing their befores and afters that started 3 months prior when I first started researching. And then 5 months later again. And I'm like, shit, that could have been me.
Right.
Like, no, I need you know, and so literally, when my niece was born, that's why I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try for 30 days. So I gave
Mhm.
myself 30 days. And in the 30 days, I lost 22 pounds.
Mm.
And it wasn't easy. Like, it's not easy to change a bad habit.
Mhm.
And it's not easy to give up stuff that you've been used to eating your entire life, or to even give up stuff that technically is considered healthy but does not fit into the keto low carb
Mhm.
lifestyle.
Right.
Like, for example, fruits and other vegetables, root vegetables and stuff like that, plantains. I mean, in my culture, plantains are healthy.
Right. Right.
My grandma used to tell me, you wanna live long and be healthy like me and have a nice shape like me, then you need to eat more plátano. So, and she used to boil plantain, like the green plantains every day, and she'll eat it with like codfish and with
Right.
other meats, and guisados. And literally, she would tell me every day, you need to start eating more guineo. So
Yep.
it was just something like huge for me not to have these things. But then it was like time to change the mentality. Food will always be there, but if you don't change your mentality and you don't get stronger about looking at your goals differently and food differently, you're not going to progress. Sometimes you gotta lose something to gain something.
Yep.
I lost pasta, I lost rice, I lost beans, but I gained a whole bunch of confidence. I gained the accessibility of being able to shop anywhere without like being frustrated that I have to go to 50 different stores just to find one cute, fashionable outfit. And for a fashionista like me, that was a big deal. And just things like that, of that aspect, that it was hard being obese. Like, for example, going to Great America, going to amusement park. Um, I grew up going to the amusement park my entire life, and like for like about 15 or 17 years, I haven't gone to Great America because I couldn't fit into the rides. Guess what I
That's
did this summer though? This summer I went to Great America.
that's right. That's
I
right.
got myself a season pass, and I went several times, and because it was something that, like, a way to celebrate. I was happy the way I was before. I didn't see anything wrong. I had positive body image. Um, thank God I was healthy, but how long was that going to last?
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah, you get your life back. I actually, ironically, I went to Chicago Medical School, which is in North Chicago, close to Waukegan, basically close to Gurnee, close to Great America. So I would drive by there often. And who thinks about, getting in their seat besides a person who's suffering from having a weight issue, right? So it's really the things that people don't have to think about, many people have to think about. What's even worse is that we live in a society where so many people are not at their ideal body weight, yet the society hasn't adapted in terms of making the seats more appropriate. And even in the clinic setting, we've had to make sure that our seats are, a little bit wider. And we need to live in a world where people are thinking about others and trying to make sure that they're comfortable. And I was actually literally today looking outside my window, and I think about your comments about, we don't think about what we eat. And that's why this knowledge is so important. So I see a gentleman walking towards the clinic from Subway. Shout out to Subway. Jared, all of it, right? and I kind of noticed it looked like he had a foot long sub, right? It also looked like he had a 21-ounce soda. So I was just curious while I was with this patient and trying to encourage her to move in that direction. I said, let's look this up. So if you assume that you're eating a foot long turkey sandwich, I couldn't believe it. It was 92 carbs.
I kind of figured because I was thinking like the bread alone had to be about 40 something
It's
carbs,
huge,
just
right?
the bread. And then
And
the processed meats
the
had to
processed
be,
meats, inflammation, and the soda was 20. It looked like a 21 ounce. So that was 71 carbs. So it was
and
like
that sugar,
163 carbs
the sugar
for
is like
lunch.
when you think about it.
Right. But the average person goes to Subway thinking that's a healthy alternative than like going to another. So we have to learn. So anybody listening who does not pay attention to carbs, the obesity doctor is saying that that's how you gain weight. Carbs turn into fat. Fat and protein, not so much. And then while we were talking, I looked up the plantain, right? And that was one medium is about 57 carbs.
I
So
know.
so it's like I know I'm breaking. I know when I was in, me and my wife took a trip to Jamaica. Doing the whole Buffalo Soldier thing, and I think that culture also eats a lot of,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's just
Dominicans, Cubans, Jamaicans, Haitians, like
yes,
anybody
yes.
in the Caribbean, they're eating
And
plantains.
And
So
you can still do this. You can still do a low carb diet and still have an appropriate, culturally appropriate diet. So I think I want to mention that too. You have to tweak it, but you can still do it. So you are, you mentioned discipline and you said that's important, but you also mentioned in a post I saw that it was discipline, but it was yummy food. So yummy food doesn't sound like it requires a lot of discipline. So when you think about discipline, is it the food or something else you're talking about that made this a
it's
challenge?
actually it intertwines. So when I
Okay.
say discipline and yummy food means discipline not to eat the stuff that will get you in trouble,
Mhm.
but doesn't mean that you have to give up taste. You still can have yummy food.
Mm.
So, for example, today I baked about 2,000 donuts,
Mm.
2,000 keto donuts.
Keto.
Um, and I made a chicken that's known in the keto world as crack chicken.
Mm.
And it's a very rich chicken with, cream cheese and ranch and bacon. It's very flavorful, with some steamed cauliflower rice and some steamed
Mm.
veggies, avocado on the side. I eat good. My food
Mm.
tastes good. I eat good. I'm not lacking flavor. I'm not lacking creativity. I'm not eating boring, bland food like dry piece of toast with a
Right.
boiled egg and a little pinch of salt. And that's the thing is like when you eat boring, you cheat.
That's true.
And when I first started keto, there wasn't even as many options that there are now in the supermarket.
Mhm.
Now, I don't say that every item is worthwhile to have. You still have to read labels,
That's right.
just because it says keto friendly or keto on it doesn't necessarily mean it has the right ingredients, or to keep you in ketosis.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing dirty keto or you're maintaining, totally fine. I would
That's right.
rather have one of my clients eat, some ice cream, some keto ice cream, and enjoy it. I do it occasionally myself, than to eat regular ice cream and derail their whole entire world. Like literally everything you worked hard for, lost.
Yeah.
So
But it
uh,
was cool. You took your passion beyond yourself, right? Now, you just said you made your keto donuts and things like that, and I'm sure you're sharing those, but
yes.
you also share your passion with others because you're literally, I saw another post, and it was a client who was celebrating a 50-pound weight loss over 3 months. I mean, that's insane. And it sounds like they were using your meal plan. So what the heck are you doing with, I did introduce you as a restaurant person, a chef, but when did you start helping other people with meal plans? Where'd that come from?
So when I reached about the 6 month mark, which is when I decided, yep, this is for me, because I gave myself first the 30 days, then the 60 days, and then I hit the 6 month and I was like, yeah, I can do this. By the time I reached 6 months, I was close to about 60 something pounds, almost 70 pounds lost. And I was like, I'm almost at the 100 mark. I can do this. This is not hard. And mind you, I've been cooking since I was 6 years old.
Mhm.
My parents got divorced when I was young, so I had to help out my mom a lot. And she taught me how to cook at a very young age. And I love food. I mean, obviously, uh, I didn't mind what I was eating because I was cooking good,
Mhm.
And my family owned a restaurant for about 15 years, and then I owned this last restaurant for about 6 years.
Mhm.
And I worked both my family's restaurant and my restaurant. So I've been in the restaurant business for a little over 20 years.
Mm.
And it's just something that I enjoy doing. I understand food, I understand flavors. And so, you think about meatloaf. Can I make a keto? Yeah.
Mhm.
Pot roast. Can I make a keto? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a lasagna? Can I have pasta? Yes. There's ways to make it.
That's right.
I like tacos. I like Mexican food. I like Asian food.
Mm.
Yes, I can make you an Asian. I make my clients a little bit of everything. I send them a questionnaire and I just find out their general taste. Right now, this
Mhm.
is, mind you, this is like the beta program. I'm still learning the kinks.
Mhm.
And I have altered a few things within the 2 years that I've been doing meal prep. But literally, it was just because people saw my success,
Mhm.
and there were people that I personally know, and they would, hey, I'll pay you if you can help me. And so I was like, look, I'll just pay me for the food. The coaching would be included. So I included coaching
Mm.
for free. They can text me at any time. I
Mhm.
don't respond at any time because I'm a busy woman, but I always get back to them.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like I'm trying to make it as easy as possible because for me it took work,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are discouraged from work.
Mhm.
I have a strong work ethic. Everything I've ever worked hard for, I have obtained. But for some reason, when it concerned weight loss, I was just weak minded about it. I made excuses. I would start and then give up. I would
Mhm.
fail. And it becomes discouraging. And
And do you think the advice, like, sometimes it's the advice also. So do you think that if you had been given this keto advice in the beginning, you would have been more successful, or do you think you just weren't ready mentally?
I wish I would have heard about keto earlier, and I wish I would have been mentally ready earlier.
A little bit of
I
both.
honestly believe you have to be ready. You
Yeah.
have to be mentally ready because there was times that I did try and attempted and lost 40, 50 pounds and killed myself at the gym.
Mm.
Killed myself, sore, coming out sweated every day. But then I would celebrate cheat days. I do not promote cheat days. There's no
Mhm.
such thing as a cheat day. To me, is a cheat day. You don't cheat on your in your relationship. So why would you cheat on food?
Mhm.
Like the most important relationship you have is with yourself, because husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends, they go. People come and go, friendships come and go, but you're stuck with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you have no guarantee that someone's going to take care of you. So you have to take care of yourself. And what best way to take care of yourself than making sure that you can live a long, healthy life? You can climb up a set of stairs without dying. You can
Mm.
sleep without worrying about falling asleep and never waking up again because your breathing stopped. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can carry things without hurting your back and your being fit. And that this doesn't mean muscular. This doesn't mean that you have to be a gym head. It just means eating properly and having a moderate activity lifestyle where you at least walk, do something.
But I think
It's all beneficial.
But I think what I'm hearing is what you started with. It started with the nieces. You had a why. And what made you mentally ready to do this is your why arrived. And so, if anybody listening, if you're not sure what your why is, find that first. And then that'll kind of keep you inspired to stay on track. What I love about keto is that it fixes the hunger issue, which is a huge issue. A lot of people, you don't feel hungry. In fact, yesterday was one of those days where I had 2 baked pork chops I was going to eat for lunch because I'm a carnivore for lunch most days. And I just got busy and I didn't eat. But so it's like, and then we have this couch conversations with the doctors we do with Congressman Danny Davis Friday, Monday evening. So it literally is 8:15, hadn't eaten anything all day. Did I feel horrible? Not at all. I literally forgot that I hadn't eaten. I mean, who would not want to not have to think about eating? And instead of having to, again, focus on it's lunchtime, I got to run the subway and get these 163 carbs in my body, and then you're going to be sleeping half the afternoon. Those days are gone. I also like the fact that you make products that are keto. So my cheat is, and I agree with you, if you have an addiction to food, if you're going to get triggered by that stuff, don't do it. However, if you're transitioning and you can tolerate alternatives, make it a cheat. So you're not really cheating that much, but at least you're staying within your zone. So I think those are all good tips because it's all up here, most of it. And do you feel that when you talk to people, as you coach them and help feed them, that it's just a convenience issue? Because when I did my obesity training, they had a list of the most effective ways to lose weight. And actually, they had meal planning as one of the most effective. So, do you think that's simply people just don't have time, or other factors that make them, have issues with that?
I think people just have excuses.
Mm,
We have excuses
mm-hmm,
because we make time for so many things. We find a budget for so many things. Um, And then when it concerns something that is beneficial, then it's too expensive or inconvenient, or I'm lazy, I can't do it, I'm too busy for this, and we make excuses.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's my main thing. People make a lot of excuses, and I was the queen of excuses.
Yeah.
Okay. And meal prep, though, I do feel that it does make it easier for people who don't cook, don't understand eating correctly,
Mm-hmm,
um, are kind of lazy, who don't want to
mm-hmm,
sit there and calculate every carb and they want it to be it's simplistic.
mm-hmm,
My meals, I tend to keep them between 6 and 7 net carbs. They can go as low as 5 net carbs.
mm-hmm,
But I warn my clients, you're going to get anywhere between 5 to 12 net carbs. As
mm-hmm.
my business grows, of course, I would like to label everything individually
Right.
and
Right.
have all my nutrition facts. But right now, it's a small business, it's growing. And I have many ideas of how it's going to grow and to make it even more convenient. But I feel that it is convenient for, especially the busy people. I have a gentleman who um, he's a paramedic and he's on the road. It's busy for him. So
And
he actually
stressful.
he gets 7 days off of me. He's
Mm,
my only 7 day client at the moment.
wow.
Um, I have a couple that are 6 or 5 days. Most people do. My minimum is 3 days.
Mm,
I teach them how to eat. I give them all the information, and I leave them an open line for them to communicate with me when they have questions. And everyone's doing pretty well. I'll be honest. I range between 12 to about 5 clients, depending on people's finances, who they reach their goal, new clients. So it's hard to make people take something serious. You have to want it, and
Mm-hmm.
they see some success and then they divert back to their old things. I try as best to motivate them and to understand that we have to look forward, not backwards,
Mm-hmm.
and that you have to make a decision that this is going to be a lifestyle, not just a quick fix to lose weight. Because when we do quick fixes, we revert back to bad habits, and then
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the body is very jealous, and you end up gaining double the weight that you lost. You end up
Mm-hmm.
losing, gaining more weight. So you lose bigger at the end because
Mm.
you lose all the time. You lose, uh, you know, the motivation that you need to do this. And so I think that with meal prepping, it makes it a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, um, I think everyone just needs to sit down and assess, look at themselves, assess. Um, Whatever their health issues are, however their family or relationship lives are, and visualize what it is they really want out of their life, the quality of life they want to have, and how can I get there? How can I get better? If I remain the way that I am, I'm not going to make it. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to die earlier. I can have a heart attack. I can get diabetes. There's so many other health issues that I can have, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Um, or I can find a way to correct all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, eating clean, so much energy,
Mm.
so much happier. Depression, anxiety cut down to minimal because we are human. We're going to have depression and anxiety regardless. But there's a difference between low and high,
That's right.
and I I can attest. I was at high,
Mm.
um, and we don't realize the way that food triggers our moods. It's the way that it's chemically made. A lot of these processed food are made. It does trigger our moods. It makes us pretend or feel in a certain way, comforted or happy or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And the problem is it's going all to your gut. It's all promoting diabetes. It's all promoting heart disease. It's all promoting us to get sick
Yeah.
because honestly, have
Well,
you know
yeah,
have
it's
the industry
really
for
it's
money.
a real like lesson, and if you put toxins in your body that are in the food, which are designed to make you want those foods, they will uh, wreak havoc on your gut. And your gut, 80% of your mood hormone, serotonin, is made in your gut. So if it's made in your gut and you have this, gut brain axis going on, then you're going to disrupt that axis. So all of a sudden, as you have suggested, if you eat the wrong foods, don't expect to be in a good mood. Don't expect to not be anxious because a lot of these things are connected. The gut is probably the most important part of your body because that's the gateway into you.
You need
That's
nourishment to survive.
you need it, and if you give yourself bad fuel, just like if you put the cheap gas in your car, don't expect that expensive sports car to run like it should if you put the cheap gas in. So I think that's really important, and I'm really impressed with your entrepreneurial spirit. It's clear that you got a lot of that from your parents. Um, and I really appreciate them bringing that to the table because without that, you probably would just, maybe be sharing, but I'm not sure you'd be doing meal plans, which is really important. But it's also important, which is one of the reasons why I want you to be on the podcast, is to make sure we reach more communities. One of the roles I have is we have this thing called the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners, right? So in that role as a chair of the outreach committee, I think it's important that we outreach. And so I think about, perception and how could you do keto when you're from a culture where a whole lot of the foods are starchy, right? Going back to the plantain, question. So So as it relates to your culture and as you share your healing message with others, has it been hard to honor your culture as you share dishes that are keto friendly? Is it more, do you think it's been a challenge, or you found that that transition hasn't been too hard?
It has been a challenge just because of the staples that are part of the Puerto Rican culture. Other cultures, it's a little easier. You know, as a cook, I do cook other cultures' food as well. For me, it's been pretty easy to mimic Italian food because there's so many options out there, different types of low carb or even like zero carb noodles in the market that we can use, like miracle noodles and heart of palm, things like that that we can use. Even zucchini. There's so many options, right? The same thing with Asian food. I mean, cauliflower rice. You can make fried rice, right? You can with broccoli and you can make your own teriyaki sauces.
Mhm.
You can make your own stuff sugar free, right? It's not impossible, but with Puerto Rican food, it's a little harder um, per se. Like for example, I told you I was raised both cultures
Mhm.
with Mexican and like Mexican food. I found it to be a little easier
Mhm.
just because they tend to make a lot of like hot sauces or
Mhm.
sauces, right? And then
Right.
they just stew their meat. You
Mhm.
know, they guisar their food in a sauce. So and then eat a lot of like green pepper, red pepper,
Mhm.
onions. So stuff that we can incorporate into the keto diet. Cheese, for example, avocado, sour cream. So it made it to me easier to adapt more
Mhm.
into a keto lifestyle for Mexican food versus Puerto Rican food. Puerto Rican food, one day I was missing arroz con gandules, and I said, you know what? Let me try using. Uh, I have these noodles by this company that is called like Juvia or something like
Mhm.
that, and they make like a. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Shiitake noodles.
Mhm.
So they make it like rice. And I mix that with some cauliflower rice to give it more of a texture and
Mhm.
not be so cauliflower or so much of the noodle, like
Mhm.
noodly. And I was just try it. Just let me try making it exactly how I make the rice, but let me omit the water and let me use a little less salsa because cauliflower tends to be wet already. So you think just logically, and I'm a logical cook, so I just thought logically, and I made it, and it was bomb. I looked
Mhm.
at the carbs at intake. Obviously, gandules are not keto friendly.
Mhm.
I do want to say that, but if you're trying to fit it into your
Mhm.
carb intake, and if it's a treat, and that's how I treat myself, would be like a holiday, right? Like
Mhm.
Christmas. My Christmas meal was literally a Puerto Rican meal. I found a way to make my entire meal. I made lechon. I made Puerto Rican pasteles, but keto. I made guineo escabeche, but without the guineo, with cauliflower. I
Mhm.
made arroz con gandule, but how I just explained. I made a faux potato salad with just the egg, like an egg salad. And to me, it tasted like I was eating Puerto Rican food. I
Mm.
didn't feel that I was deprived. But
Mm.
it takes creativity. You have to be creative. You have to want this. You have to want to lose the weight, want to maintain the weight off, want to live healthy, want a better quality of life. You have to want it. And then do your research. I mean, come on, we have Google on everything, on your phone, your
I
tablet, your
know.
computer. Like even your TV nowadays has Google. Alexa's all over the place. Ask Alexa. She'll give you a recipe. You don't have to be a genius in the kitchen. You can do something so simple as buying a rotisserie chicken, some sugar-free sauces that come in many different flavors,
No doubt.
okay? And chopped salad, a bag of chopped salad, and maybe some steamed veggies. Like, I mean, they're in the frozen. Stick it in the microwave.
That's
Like
right.
that's it. It's so easy. And slice of avocado, you got yourself a meal right there. You didn't even have to cook. It took like 5 minutes to put
That's right.
together. Anyone can do it,
Yeah,
but
it's so
people make
simple.
excuses.
It's always simple, and I think what when I'm challenged in clinic and I'm having somebody in front of me, It's almost like you have to problem solve. And I think part of the problem solving is to help them hear and see what you just said. Like if they don't hear and see it, their brain has this like blinder on that just, I can't imagine how what you just said is going to taste good. So if they're willing to try it and they remove those blinders, and anybody that can cook, first of all, you don't have to be a great cook. You do what you just said. But if you are a cook, cooks are just creative by the nature of cooking. If you're a cook, you're always trying this, trying that, playing with it. And by doing that, we can create even more keto friendly recipes, because this is like a new frontier. And shout out to the American Heart Association. I just shared that they now put low carb and very low carb, which is keto, as recommended dietary plans for people with type 2 diabetes, which is a metabolic condition and includes all the other conditions as well. So if you can use it for diabetes, you can use it for heart disease and stroke and dementia and things like that. So, but I do want to touch on what really got us connected, which is dance, right? And you said that my son, Brandon Ritmus
Amazing
Negros,
dancer.
amazing dancer, doing his thing. And I'll probably have a link. I'll put a link in the show notes because I did an episode with him talking about exercise, but I'll put a link to that episode and a link maybe to, him dancing. But I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about that because it's a form of exercise. And I'm curious, first of all, were you dancing when you were overweight? Did dancing, so you were always a dancer. And I want to say this also, and I've said this before, to be metabolically healthy does not require that you be at a certain size necessarily. However, you're more likely to be metabolically healthy if you're not obese, right, or overweight. So you can't, but you also could be a thin person eating garbage and be metabolically unhealthy. So as people are listening to this, trying to figure out where they are, it's important they do certain tests, maybe get a fasting insulin level and just see where you are, hemoglobin A1C. But so we're really more about, let's be healthy. And as a side effect of being healthy, you'll probably be a little thinner if you're overweight. So I just wanted to say that first, but I do want to hear a little bit about this whole dancing thing. What does it mean to you? Because when I told you I saw the beauty of your nieces, the post you put, and I can feel love just watching those posts, just watching the babies do their thing. But what does dancing mean to you? Because I know what it means to Brandon. I mean, he's like, my son is like, that's his thing, right? But what does it mean to you?
So let's see. When I was in my early 20s and I would go out dancing. So like when I was a young girl, I did do tap, ballet, and jazz for a few years as a child. I learned that, but I stopped dancing. And when I was in my 20s, I would go out dancing and I would see amazing dancers. And coming from the Puerto Rican culture, I love salsa. Salsa music is amazing, and my culture is huge. And my dad and I would go to concerts as a child. So literally, I've seen I saw Hector Lavoe before he passed. Like I've seen legends, Willie Colon, El Gran Combo, like so many amazing orchestras and so many amazing artists. And I love, 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 love the music. So
Mm-hmm.
that's foremost, right? And well, I would see these amazing dancers, and I always had rhythm. Like I always can dance or follow a rhythm, but I never had the technical training because I stopped that
Mm-hmm.
as a young girl. And I would see ballroom competitions. I would see all types of dance competitions and visualize or fantasize that it was me. Fantasize that's it was just something I always wanted to do. Um, so I had a friend of mine that worked for Latin Street Dance Studio. Shout out to Latin Street Dance Studio because they taught me everything that I know. Um, so one of my girlfriends used to work for them, and she was like, I know you've been saying you want to take dance classes. Just come and do it. I'm going to sign you up. So she signed me up. Shout out to Miss P. And that was about 9 years ago, I would say, about 9 years or so. And I took my first class, and I was very, very nervous. And I realized that while I was a good dancer in the urban, in the world, right, outside, I was not a very good dancer in a classroom setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I love a challenge. So, and mind you, I was about 280 pounds at that time. Okay. Um, with dancing at Latin Street and taking the classes, I went down to about 230 pounds, and then I would fluctuate between like about 230 and 250 until 2019, a few months before my niece was born, when the scale said 276, and I said, "Oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that far off from that 304 pounds
Mm-hmm.
that I used to be." And I didn't want to be 304 pounds ever again. And I was very proud that I had maintained the two something. I was comfortable there, but now I'm getting big again. And I used to watch my current director, Jose Serrano. I would watch his boot camp. So like at Latin Street, you can see between one classroom into the other. And I would see his boot camp, and I would say, "Oh, I would love to one day be able to join,
Mm-hmm.
his boot camp." But physically, I would die. Like I would.
Right,
There's
right,
just no
right.
way. I'm asthmatic. I was overweight. There was just no way that I can keep up with his class. And he would tease me, not in a negative way, but like, like, "Come and join us. Come on, you can do this. Come on, like this is easy. I got you. We'll start off slow." And I was a big scary cat. I was like, "Nope, nope. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way." So I did dance socially, and I'm very popular outside in the dance world. A lot of people know me. I'm very nice to everyone, so I dance with everyone, all levels. People appreciate that. So I have a lot of. I believe in dance etiquette, so I have dance etiquette. If someone asks you, unless you're extremely tired, or be nice, say yes, dance, have fun, and be inclusive with everyone. And I try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And well, when it concerned dancing, I just it inspired me even more. But I started seeing these amazing dancers and saying to myself, "I want to dance like them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing." And there was times that they were doing stuff that physically there was just no way that I could do, like
Mm-hmm.
being lifted, splitting in the air, doing floor work. But guess what? I'm doing that now. I'm doing that now, which is amazing. And I'm so grateful that I found keto and a low carb diet, because it made me chase other dreams. Right now, I'm part of Evolucion Latina Dance Company, and thanks to the training that I received, I won 4 trophies in the
Mm.
World Championship this past January. I'm a 3-time world champion thanks to Jose Serrano and his training. And I was lifted in the air and swinged
Mm.
around, things that I never thought I would ever be able to do. So I'm breaking barriers within my own mental capacity, within stuff that I didn't believe in myself before. I'm believing in myself even more, and I'm going to train even harder this year, because I want another try next year. Let's see what happens next year.
I love it.
You
What
know?
an inspiration. And I assume since you've been through your own journey, and even when I looked online and saw some dancing, everybody wasn't thin, right? So has that helped you when you see somebody who struggles, right? Has that helped you to help them a little bit? Because you understand the journey and you understand that they're on this journey. So what have you been in that role in the past in the last year or so?
I feel like I can associate. I tell my clients all the time, don't let this little skinny body confuse you. I'm still the same person in the inside. Like in the inside, I still have the same doubts and insecurities, and it's a battle that you have with yourself. But I try to inspire and motivate my clients and my friends and my family, because this is not just money. I'll be
Mhm.
honest. I help a lot of people that have never been a client of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I help people that hit me up in all the groups, all the keto groups that are I'm on. And I try to respond and give them as much information as I can within my capacity of time and whatnot. I've helped family members and friends and people that have never purchased a meal plan for me. So my my whole thing is like, we tend to believe that we cannot do this. We tend to believe that's impossible. 20, 30 pounds, we can do that. Anyone can
Mm-hmm.
do 20 or 30 pounds. But when it concerns 100, 150, 200, 300 pounds, people lose hope and they would rather just continue eating and say, well, I'm going to die anyways. We're going to die someday. I'm going to die someday. Doesn't matter, you know? And we justify ourselves and we think that that's being positive, or we trying to compensate for something, but in reality, we're not. In reality, we're killing ourselves even more. Like, we're hurting ourselves harder by not being realistic and not
Mm-hmm.
understanding that, as you pointed out earlier, it has nothing to do with uh, being thin or
Mm-hmm.
being, because our body types are different. It's about being healthy, and you can be very thin and still be unhealthy.
That's right.
So um, it was just a choice. It was a choice. There was a lot that I wanted and that I still want and that I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to go for, and I'm going to continue thriving. And I hope that my story inspires a whole movement of people, men and women alike, especially people of the Latino culture who believe like, and you know what? I'll be honest, in the Latino culture, in the Black culture, and in the Italian culture, because we
Mm-hmm.
are so food oriented.
Mm-hmm.
We believe everything has to be celebrated with food
Mm-hmm.
and traditions, and there's still ways that you can honor your traditions and your what you're used to without killing yourself, and like, I'm happy that my mom now is eating healthier and my brother took control of his weight,
Mm-hmm.
and I teach my nieces better choices. Like, right now they eat low carb tortillas and low carb bread at home,
Mm.
so that's thanks to me. You
That's
know,
that's
uh,
huge.
it's just little things, that they're implementing, but it helps out, and friends of mine that have been inspired to lose weight. I have friends of mine that are down 40, 50, 60, 70
Mm.
pounds
Mm.
right now, just because I share what I share and I talk to them or I send them information here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like for everyone to know it's possible. Like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I eat
Wow.
so good.
Yes, I love it. Although this is the funny thing about it, as much as we said, we quoted you yummy, right? The food is yummy, but I don't think about it. Like, when I'm eating the food, if I'm having a steak or something or some nice dish, I don't think about it all day. I enjoy it when I'm eating it, but it's yummy. And so it's like, it's nice to be able to enjoy your food, and I really think that's huge because I don't know how anything is sustainable if you don't enjoy it. So I do want to ask you, as you are helping people meal planning, you're helping people, inspiring people through your dance, you have a restaurant thing you're doing, you're taking care of people's hair. I guess I should ask you that as we kind of wrap up before I ask you about my nesting rope, and how you're going to take care of yourself. This hair thing, where'd that come from?
Oh, well, both of my parents have been doing hair their whole entire life, and it was just
Mhm.
something that I grew up in. And we had a salon for like about 13 years, and so I still do hair privately now. Like, I have a wedding booked in a couple of months, and
Okay,
I do, like, I've done some music videos, like hair and makeup for music videos for local artists and stuff like that. It's
cool.
just fun. It's just
Yeah,
creative. I come from a very artistic family. My brother is an amazing artist and painter, and my dad and my other brother are very talented. They're all like just very artistic family, in every aspect, from dancing, music to drawing, poetry.
okay.
Everything. My sister's a tattoo artist. I mean, it's like art is in our blood. So.
I love it.
Right.
Well,
So
thank
it's
you.
just, I embrace it in every way, and I feel cooking is an art, dancing is an art.
Yeah.
Speech, talking to people and motivating people, that's an art.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that it helps a lot of people out for real, because I wish I was mentally in the right space back then to pursue this, because I would have been doing this a lot longer and I would
Mm-hmm.
have helped a lot more people. And I'm extremely grateful to everyone that has ever posted a before and after picture,
Mm.
who has shared recipes, who has shared links, who have given a product review, who have talked about the withdrawals that they've gone through, because I've gone through every withdrawal that you can think of with keto. I have had, trolley horses and dry, itchy skin and bad breath and the urine smelling and hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you can think of that you go through when your body is detoxing from
Right.
crap,
That's right.
I have gone through. So skipped periods, everything, everything.
Yep.
So it's a little scary when you don't know what's going on. And so I did a lot of research, and I'm very grateful for every person that posted their stories and
Right.
gave me an understanding of why this was happening to my body, what was going on. Because I'll be honest, a lot of doctors at times are not very supportive of keto
Mm-mm.
or a low carb diet. They feel like they're uneducated as well when it concerns keto, because they see these posts that people put to get people enticed, right? And these posts show you like a big plate of bacon and cheese, and,
Right.
and people are thinking, oh wow, you're just sitting there all day eating bacon and cheese. And no, you're not.
Mm-mm.
If I eat bacon once a week, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a staple in my meals.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
just nice that I
yeah,
can have it.
right. It's just yeah, people don't know. And by the way, for those listening to the podcast, check out the YouTube of this interview if you want to see a before and after of today's guest, and we'll share that as a thumbnail to let you see how she made this great transformation. And I'll have a link. I have a link tree in the show notes for the podcast for those who are listening to this episode. So let's wrap up with my my favorite question, which is simply about my acronym. And the question becomes, of the things that this acronym represent, where are you going to focus? So we talked about nutrition. So it could be nutrition or exercise, less stress, more sleep, how we think, recovering from trauma, making sure your relationships serve you, avoiding harmful organisms and pollutants, and in protecting your emotions and life experiences. So when you think about those different aspects of this acronym, where do you think you're going to focus your most attention over the next year?
Well, I'll be honest and say that I implement all of that in my life daily, because I feel it's important to not just focus on just one thing, but try to improve overall. Um, but my focus, more as someone that wants to be more influential and a motivator, and as an entrepreneur, would be mostly in nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
I am considering right now going into some form of certification to learn more about nutrition. Uh, as I grow my business, I want to be able to be more informed, not just about keto and low carb, but other alternatives out there,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can help in a bigger range with
Mm-hmm.
people. Um, I would hope to focus a lot on like coaching. Um, would like to find a coach so that I learned to be coached
Mm-hmm.
and so that I
Yep.
can coach someone. So, because I think it's important for me to learn as well. It's not, I'm not an expert, I just lived it. It's a
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Yep.
So, I want to be able to have more of an expert say, so that people can understand that, like, yeah, not only did I live it, but I researched it, I learned it,
Mm-hmm.
and that I can teach it.
Mm-hmm.
It is learnable. You can learn to eat right, and you can learn to be healthier, and you can learn all the amazing side effects that you get from keto and low carb, which
Mm-hmm.
is I sleep amazing. I have clear thoughts all the time,
Mm-hmm.
energy from up the wazoo. I mean, I'm always like on the go. I don't feel sluggish and lazy and depressed and sad like I used to. Uh, and this is all comes from food, comes from overeating, comes from abusing food. Um, a lot of the time that you're hungry, you're just actually thirsty, and a lot of people are not hydrated enough. And I'm so happy for all that I've learned, and I just want to help other people learn it as well because I feel like it's important. It's
Yeah.
important for people to know that you can do it. It's not as hard as you think it is, and you have to be a little bit more positive. You just have to do it. Just have to like buckle down and do it.
Just do it. I love it, and that's been one of the themes you shared today is, let's just do it. So, really appreciate you being here today. I enjoyed it. Maybe I'll be inspired to get my Spanish right. So, I appreciate that as well, and I'm just happy you were able to reach the community you're from as well as others, and like you said, I wanna help everybody, but I wanna make sure those communities that are suffering and have less access to information or getting that information. So you have information and you share stuff. So where would people be able to find you on social media and or information about maybe the dance group that you're involved with?
Well, my dance company that I'm involved with is Evolucion Latina Dance Company. Actually, it's an amazing company that's very accepting of everyone of all cultures, sizes, and physical abilities. Um, my main director, Jose Serrano, does a lot for the community, and so as a team, we do a lot for the community. And I'm very proud of being part of the dance company. Outside of that, you can find the dance company on Instagram or on Facebook. It's called Evolucion Latina Dance Company. And with me, the best way right now is I am trying to grow my Instagram page. So I would say the best way to reach out to me would be through Instagram. Um, as I learn a little bit more about Instagram and how to maneuver it, because I'm not that technologically savvy at the moment. Um, Once I learn how to maneuver it a little bit better, I will be posting more content. I've been working on making videos on just some of my favorite recipes, just showing you how I make it and things like that, just to help people out. I think that it makes it so much easier when you can just look up something,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a question. Can I eat pineapple on keto? And Google it,
Mm-hmm.
and Google tells you no. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
just like it's makes life easier. Ideally, I would love to develop an app in the future that would be part of my own program, where they can get recipes, they can get coaching, they will get you know, be able to monitor their food intake and
Mm-hmm.
and 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 scale everything down. Um, you know, Maybe even write a cookbook or two. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's so many possibilities, but one way or the other, I do want to take all this information and all of this experience that I've done in the last two and a half years of being in this lifestyle, and that I plan to implement for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
While I might not be strict keto for the rest of my life, I do plan to be on a low carb diet for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Um, and now I know the trick. The trick is if the low carb diet starts getting me in a number I'm uncomfortable, back to strict keto.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then, now I know the trick. Had I known this trick years ago, I would have not wasted so many years. But let's get people healthy. Let's get them back on track. It's possible, and it's the best decision I've ever made. And I do it, people. Just do it. That's
Just
it.
do
It's
it.
the
Just
best
do it.
decision
That's
ever.
right. Get that message out. So thank you so much. And I agree. Like just do it. And I love the fact that we are flexible. You adapt your carb restriction based on what your needs are. And it's been a game changer for so many people. So thanks for Emily, for sharing your inspiring message. I'm so happy I met you. So happy that you're out here doing this great work, and I appreciate you. So thanks again for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon, for linking us up. And I'm really proud of what you're doing. What you're doing is really helping out everyone, the whole entire community. Like anyone who watches your podcast and gets the information that you're bringing out. I was looking at your podcast for yesterday with the doctors. Like, there's just so much information that you're making so easily accessible to people. Like, thank you on behalf of everyone,
Well, thank
because
you.
honestly, you're making it easier for people, and I appreciate that. And as you being a doctor and caring enough just shows how, like, how much you take this, how serious you take health in your patients and
Mhm.
in their lives, because you made an oath and you're like literally showing us that it matters to you, that we matter
Yes.
to you. So thank you so much for it.
Well, thank you for those beautiful words, and I appreciate every word you said. So thanks a lot. And for those who are checking us out today, always remember that finding success in life requires a willingness, as our guest has suggested, to take another path. When the one you're on is not leading you to your desired destination, when Emily was not satisfied with the results she was getting, she didn't give up, but instead stayed focused, and she was inspired by those beautiful young people in her life, and she was inspired to get better results. So we totally get it. If you're struggling, the struggle is real, but never forget that it's a greater struggle to live a life having to take chronic medications for the rest of your life, or living with chronic medical conditions for the rest of your life. So now is the time to remove the barriers of the past and to get started. Emily has been inspiration, and her journey has helped us to see it's possible. So, as we end today's episode, stay focused and inspired. And I promise to walk right by your side as you take your journey towards healing. So, I thank you again for joining me today. And as usual, I only ask that you be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.